In ancient times, a young monk once received a profound teaching from an old Zen master. Next time someone insults you, watch closely. If you're merely suppressing anger, you're faking it. But if you can't even find who is being insulted, you might just be awakening. The young monk took this to heart. One day at a bustling marketplace, he accidentally bumped into a butcher. The butcher turned, furious, and cursed at him. The monk straightened up, proudly declared, "I can't find the one being insulted. I can't find the one being insulted." The butcher blinked once, then grabbed his cleaver and roared, "Then let me help you look." The monk dropped all Zen and dashed off, running for his life, 3 miles straight. Gasping and covered in sweat, he suddenly paused and muttered, "Wait, who was it that just ran away?" Years passed. That young monk became the abbot of a temple. One day, a young novice asked him, "Master, back then, did you really not find the one who ran away?" The abbot smiled and said, "It was my body of habits that ran, but my true self just stood there, watching the show." In Zen, realizing truth isn't about saying the right words. It's about watching clearly. Who's reacting? Who's running? And who's just watching the show? You see, in Zen, the self is not a single thing. It's a bundle of layers. There's the body, wired by instinct to fear pain and run from danger. There's the emotional self, shaped by habits, pride, and fear of humiliation. And beyond that, there is the watcher, the silent awareness that sees all without being swept away. Awakening doesn't mean you stop reacting. It means you know exactly who is reacting. The monk later came to a deeper realization. His running was real. His fear was instinct, built from countless lifetimes of karmic habit. But even as his body fled, there was something in him that didn't move, a deeper presence that simply observed, not caught in fear, not identified with ego, just watching like sky watching clouds. That awareness, untouched by the drama, is the true self in Zen. Why the story's funny and profound. He said, "There's no one being insulted," then ran for his life. That's not just a joke, it's a Dharma mirror. The gap between words and reflexes is where true practice begins. Zen doesn't demand perfection, it invites clarity. Can you tell the difference between the one who runs and the one who watches? Daily life will test you. A sharp word, a dirty look, an unjust blame. These are not problems, they are practice. Anyone can say no self, but when insulted, misunderstood, or provoked, if you can pause and witness, not suppress, not act out, you're no longer trapped in the play, you're watching the show. In ancient times, a young monk left the monastery before finding true wisdom. He wandered from town to town, claiming to be the master of fortune sticks. At crowded markets, he shook his bamboo box, drew lots, and told people their fate. Luck, misfortune, wealth, health, he had answers for everything. One day, his old Zen master appeared, quiet, watching. He asked the monk, "Tell me, will you get slapped today?" The monk chuckled, shook the stick box with flair, and announced, "Great fortune." Smack! The master struck him across the face. "So, was your prediction accurate?" Laughter broke out all around. But inside that slap was a teaching. If you chase signs, you miss the truth. If you grasp the future, you lose the present. If you cling to titles, you forget yourself. The slap wasn't punishment, it was a mirror, shattering illusion. In that moment, the monk saw clearly his need for control, his attachment to appearances, his fear of being wrong, all gone like ink in water. He bowed to his master, tears in his eyes, a smile on his face. From that day forward, he no longer read fortunes. He pointed people toward their true nature. Sometimes the slap is the answer. Before awakening, you are turned by circumstances. After awakening, you turn circumstances around. In ancient times, somewhere in the East, there was a man tormented by an unbearable itch on his back. He tried every remedy he could find, yet nothing worked. One day, he came across a street vendor shouting about a secret ancestral cure for itching. Desperate and hopeful, the man spent a considerable amount of money to buy it. Back home, his itch flared up again. In pain and urgency, he tore open the package, only to find another layer wrapped inside. He unwrapped that layer, and then another, and another, until finally at the center, he found a single piece of paper. On it were just two words: scratch it. Now imagine you are that man. What's your first reaction? First reaction: anger. I've been scammed. This is a mind far from Zen. It's the ego reacting, the self clinging tightly to its expectations. It's natural but not awakened. Second reaction: laughter followed by a realization. I was chasing a shortcut I probably didn't deserve. This mindset is already very close to Zen or Tao. You are open, spacious, able to laugh at yourself. You're already halfway there. Third reaction: deeper laughter, not only realizing the chase was pointless, but also seeing that the self who chased it, this identity wrapped in thought, is just a mental construct. At that moment, you experience what Zen calls Satori, a flash of awakening. From there, your only task is to maintain that clarity, to practice gently, consistently. In fact, modern neuroscience shows that with sustained awareness, the brain begins to change. Your anterior cingulate cortex, your insular cortex, and your salience network, the very regions responsible for deep awareness and mindful observation, start to strengthen and grow. Over time, your brain literally rewires itself for clarity and resilience. You become someone who lives with fewer worries, greater emotional stability, and a steady sense of calm. Your creativity blossoms, focus deepens, relationships improve, life flows better, and both your body and mind stay healthy and happy. Zen calls this moment breaking the illusion of self. This story also carries another layer of meaning. The very act of seeking enlightenment too earnestly can become a trap. Chasing a secret formula for awakening is just another form of attachment, an obsession Zen teaches us to release. Each layer of the package in the story symbolizes something to let go of: craving, expectation, ego, identity, until all that's left is something simple, honest, and direct. Scratch it. This simplicity doesn't mock the search. It reveals the truth at its core. That scratch it symbolizes the essence of Zen. To see directly into your original mind, the one free of stories, free of conceptual filters, free of ego. To simply be aware without adding layers. Zen is not about achieving something grand. It's about stripping away what you're not until what's left is what's always been: your natural awareness. Zen calls this the non-practice practice. When you let go, the clarity comes naturally. So, how close are you to Zen? Maybe closer than you think. Maybe just one laugh away. Beyond the mindfulness you may already be practicing, this deeper Zen awareness is the very force that empowered visionaries like Konosuke Matsushita, Kazuo Inamori, Steve Jobs, and countless others to transform their lives and the world. And speaking of Zen's enduring power, did you hear the news? NBA superstar Victor Wembanyama just shaved his head and began a 10-day silent retreat at the Shaolin Temple in China, embracing the monastic life and pausing his travel plans. Why Shaolin? Because back in 527 CE, Bodhidharma, the 28th patriarch of Indian Buddhism, arrived at Shaolin and planted the seeds of what became Chan Zen Buddhism, a path that would go on to transform Eastern philosophy and spiritual practice. That's why Shaolin is called the ancestral home of Zen. So why would a global sports icon pause everything to dive into Zen? Because Zen still speaks to something deep, real, and timeless. It opens a door, not just to stillness, but to awakening. If you're curious about that journey, subscribe to True Koan Neo Zen and join us as we explore more stories, insights, and practices. Together, we'll make this world a more awakened, peaceful, and beautiful place.